Welcome back, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Ready, Set, Recap, where we recap what's been going on. I'm Daniel, joined as always by my best friend, Skyler.
Happy to be here.
This week, in the news, EA has laid off a bunch of people. The Sergeant Rock movie that you probably didn't know about and definitely didn't care about has been delayed, as well as GTA 6. WWE has cut a bunch of people. We've got some interesting news in the world of movies, and we're going to rank our top 5 favorite shows. But before we get into all that, Skyler, what's been going on with you this week?
I saw some movies this week, but not the same movies that you saw.
Ooh, you saw nerd movies.
No. Well, I guess I saw one nerd movie.
Okay.
But I basically saw 2 horror movies. Surprise, surprise.
You are the horror boy.
I saw Sinners.
Okay, yeah.
Which
is that
really?
I guess that is technically a horror movie. I feel like it's not like a.
It's a horror movie.
It's not like a slasher or anything though. Like I don't qualify it in that same like Blumhouse ass. You know what I mean?
No. Well, Blumhouse doesn't make a lot of good movies these days.
You liked some of them, didn't you?
In fact, I got a trailer for Megan 2.0 in front of.
Bro, I hated the first Megan.
Yeah, I didn't care for it either. And this new one looks so bad.
Does she do a funny dance?
She doesn't do a funny dance, but she's funny now. She's making jokes.
Okay.
It looks in the trailer they're like doing the Terminator 2 thing where the monster from the first movie is a good guy now, but she's still kind of evil, but she's helping the good guys. I don't know, man.
There was a Terminator in the movie I saw too.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know that yet, but
yeah.
But no, Sinners, very good. Definitely the best movie I've seen so far this year.
Okay. Well, you've seen quite a few movies this year, so that's saying something.
I've seen a handful.
You've seen more movies already than this year than most people will see for the rest of the year.
Okay, well, when I say movies I've seen this year, I do just mean 2025 releases.
Yeah, no, I know.
Okay, and you still think...
I still believe that, yeah.
Let me check that number. Hold up. 9 movies.
Oh, okay. That's not as high as I thought.
Yeah, it's not that bad. Not that bad.
I thought you were seeing like 2 movies a week for the entire year.
No, I mean, I will once movies really start to pick up in the summer, but it's more like 2 movies every 2 or 3 weeks right now.
Gotcha.
But speaking of that second movie that is less good than Sinners, I also saw Until Dawn.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But only less good. So you must still quite enjoy it, yeah?
No.
Oh.
I mean, I didn't hate it. It was, if you like the horror movies of David F. Sandberg,
right,
who, as we know, directed Shazam and Annabelle Creation and other things. This is very much a horror movie by him. It's it's okay. It's fun as a horror movie. Like, yeah, this is fun. You could do worse than this. But as an Until Dawn movie, it's very head scratching.
That's basically what I've been hearing. Is that like I only know like 2 other people who have seen the movie, and both of them have been pretty lackluster on it.
There's not a lot to hate. There's not a lot to hate here.
Yeah.
But there's also
even
it's
less
not
to like.
yeah, middle of the road.
Gotcha.
It's middle of the road.
Gotcha. Do you think that they're gonna do like a whole Dark Pictures anthology off the back of it, or do you think it's a one and done? Do they set up a sequel?
Definitely don't think they'll do an anthology.
Mm.
I think this is a one and done. I don't know how it's performing. I didn't look into that at all.
I would assume not well. I mean, if you were going to go see a horror movie this week and it's not Sinners, I'm mad at you.
Basically.
Even Josh Allen was like, go see my wife's movie.
Yeah.
What a good life he has. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How do I re-roll my life to be Josh Allen?
He's the world's first quarterback ever.
He's the first quarterback to ever exist. He's probably, depending on who you ask, probably like the best quarterback in the league right now.
Yeah. Yes.
And then on top of that, he also is married to Haley Steinfeld.
Married to Haley Steinfeld. Yeah, we hate him for that.
What is the one thing in his life that balances this out karmically? Like, does he have a small wiener? Is he like secretly super hardcore in debt? Like, how is this fair?
It's that Shamik Moore is always like 2 steps behind and he's gonna get him one day. That's what's balancing him out.
It's that thing of the like, oh, you'll live forever, but if this snail ever catches you,
yeah,
then you die instantly.
Shamik the snail.
Shamik the snail.
I'm sorry, Shamik.
I'm not, but I don't know you, and I know you won't listen to this. So
That's true. That's fair.
if you
We're
do
not
listen to
sorry.
this, leave a comment, and I'll be like, "Oh
You
shit,
know
dude,
what?
I'm
What
sorry."
balances him out is that he's never won a Super Bowl ring. Once he
Yeah,
wins that,
yeah, that's
then
fair.
we have to kill him,
But most
right?
people haven't won a Super. Lamar Jackson doesn't have a Super Bowl ring, and you love him.
Yeah, but he's not married to Haley Steinfeld, is
Yeah,
he?
and he's got really bad skin. You're right. He has his own problems.
Well, don't be mean to his skin.
I look. I'm just
All right.
saying he has enough money to have better skin.
Other than being mean to Lamar's skin, what have you been doing this week?
I also saw a movie. But before I talk about the movie, I do want to talk about I finished South of Midnight.
Yes, it's a good game.
It's a really good game. Like a really, really good game. I genuinely think that it's one that people should play because I think it's
Mhm.
short enough that you could get in. You know, the bar of entry because it's on Game Pass is so low that it's like
Yeah.
it's such an easy recommendation. I think it is such an interesting story about like trauma and what it does to people and just like
Yeah.
the healing powers of togetherness and just like being listened to, frankly. Like I think it
Mhm.
tells such a really great story. I love the
Mhm.
Southern Gothic like visuals and the aesthetic of it. I think it's great. The combat, like you said, like it's not the most amazing thing in the world, but I think it's fine. Like I don't think there's really anything wrong with it. It's just like I don't think yeah, like I don't think it's anything that somebody would look
Yeah.
at and be like, oh my god, this is amazing. But I also don't necessarily think that it's anything that people would look at and be like, I
There's
hated this. You know what I mean? It's just
no,
like
there's certainly
there.
nothing wrong with it. It's just after by the end of the game, I feel like you could look back at it and think it's a bit shallow, but
That's fair.
that's not a game-breaking issue.
Yeah. Yeah. I think just everything about that game, from the visuals to like the music, even the acting. The guy who plays, I'm gonna forget his name, but the like mom's boyfriend character,
Yeah.
without
Okay, yeah.
spoiling anything, he
Mhm.
does such a great acting job in this game,
Mhm.
and he has like 3 scenes. Like, there's no reason for him to go that hard, but he's so good.
Yeah.
He's genuinely one of the better performances that I've seen in a video game this year. Granted,
I
I've
want to
mostly
talk
been playing games from the year 2000, so but
I
still,
want to talk about something that could be considered a spoiler. Not really, but could be.
okay,
But I
go
want to get into it.
go light
First,
at it.
I'm gonna give this is an RSR official recommendation. Play South of Midnight. It's
Yeah.
really
Oh,
good.
it's really good.
All right, so in the Two-Toe Tom segment, you're going through like that pig factory or whatever, and there's that little fat pig that's all in the water, and then Two-Toe Tom gets him.
Yeah.
So when that happened, I was like, something about it. I was like, I want to put my controller down and just go because this is sad. That little piggy, because he was so fat and he was stuck and he was just like squealing, crying, and
Yeah.
then he got him, and I was like, that's a day ruiner right there. And then I said, no, wait a minute, Skyler, you played video games before.
Mm-hmm.
This is a setup.
Mm-hmm.
You know damn well that if you kill Two-Toe Tom or whatever, he might spit that pig out.
Yeah.
And so you continue. All the while, I'm just thinking about that pig. I'm gonna be honest. I blanked out just thinking about that
That
pig
pig
this
was
whole
your
part of the
was
game.
the main character of your game.
Then you do the fight, and then Two-Toe Tom. This is the spoiler, I guess. He swallows you whole, and then your Gears of War 2ing for a second inside the giant worm, and
For
there's the
sure.
pig, and he's still screaming.
He's still screaming. It's all he knows. All he knows is
All
scream.
he can do is scream. And then by the time you get out of Two-Toe Tom, the pig rolls out. You save the pig. Right there, the game's an A plus. All right, you save the pig. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, that's definitely a win for the game. But then I did in fact go and see the Thunderbolts.
Thunderbolts. Yeah, I'm
The
gonna see that one next
Thunderbolts.
week.
It's not good.
See, that's interesting because you said that
Yeah.
when you saw it,
Yeah.
and I'm seeing a lot of more positive reviews for it than yours.
Yeah, I genuinely think that that's crazy. Like, is it the worst one that they've put out? No, no. There's been a lot of really bad ones lately, but it is like definitively bad. It feels like what like God, how do I even talk about it without spoilers? It feels like a student film that just got a huge budget. It's like if you took a student film and just replaced the main character with Florence Pugh, that's what you have. Like the
Interesting.
the entire story around the Sentry character is dog ass. It is so bad. His power
Ooh,
set is
okay.
so lame. That actor, he might be good. He's not in this. He's terrible in this. He's genuinely
Uh,
terrible.
that's Lewis Pullman, son of Bill Pullman. He was in Top Gun Maverick and the film Bad Times at the El Royale and other things.
Well,
He
he's
met the Rizzler on the red carpet. I
oh,
can
so
confirm
that's
he's
why he's
good.
terrible because he got
No,
touched
no,
by the
no.
taint.
Don't talk. about a Rizzler like that.
But he's awful in this movie, like genuinely terrible.
Oh my god.
Florence Pugh, like this is a Yelena and Red Guardian movie, and their parts
Mhm.
are pretty good. Although I do find Harbar's however you pronounce his last name, his accent by the end of the movie is like, stop, please stop, please stop.
Okay.
But their interactions are good. Florence Pugh is great; she's always great. But the movie is just like, yeah, this didn't need to happen. We did find out what the asterisk means, and
Mm,
it is stupid. It's
okay.
deeply, deeply stupid.
Well, all right, we've got one certified Thunderbolts hater on this show,
I don't even.
and I will.
Yeah,
Oh, I'll see it next week, and I will either say I agree or I disagree. I guess
yeah.
we'll find out.
I mean, I'll be honest. Like, I don't even know necessarily that I hate it. Like, I think it is so bland as to be like not even worth
You,
hate.
you did call it dog ass a second
I
ago.
called I called Lewis Pullman's character dog ass because he is.
Mm,
The Sentry character is bad. It is badly written. It is badly used.
okay, all right. Well, I'm looking forward to see how well this take ages.
If you come on next week and you're like, I love this movie, the podcast over. 'Cause
All
you will
right,
be unsavable.
you heard it here. What if I said I like it?
That's probably fine.
Okay, I don't love a lot of things.
No,
I
you
like a lot of
no,
things.
you're incapable of love. Not
All our
after.
friends liked it.
Not our
That's
friends
I
liked it. Which of our
agree.
friends liked it?
The three of them that see movies, they all gave it 4 stars on Letterboxd.
That's disgusting. A bra I expect
And
it from.
4 stars is the average on Letterboxd, by the way.
Oh, so that's not even like necessarily great. That's just like, it's fine.
No, no, no. I mean that's the average score for this film.
Oh, that's great
It's
because
it's
the
it's
people I saw it
five
with,
stars is the highest.
the people I saw it with,
Yeah.
we all were like, yeah, that movie didn't need to exist. That was pretty bad.
Well, no movie needs to exist
Yeah,
except
but
for
like,
Sinners. That one does.
yeah, okay, that's true. All right, let's get into the news. Skylar, did you hear about these EA layoffs?
Yes, from you, but
Yeah.
tell me more.
So EA just laid off about 300 people, although the number is still kind of up in the air because they didn't announce like, hey, we laid off 300 people. So it's just like being pulled from, like LinkedIn and stuff. But we do know that at least 100 of those people came from the video game studio Respawn, which is most known for having done the Titanfall series and like the Star
Yeah,
Wars Jedi Survivor and also Apex Legends, which is wild
right.
because I feel like those are some of the more successful EA games,
Yes.
except Titanfall. Titanfall like financially didn't do well, but Star Wars Jedi and
People love
Apex did
Titanfall
great.
too, though.
They love it, but it didn't perform well. To be fair, EA killed it. Like they put it out at the
Mm,
same time as Battlefield, and
mm,
so like just absolutely refused to let that thing be a success.
mhm.
But the other ones have all been successful. The Star Wars Jedi games, even though they both launched frankly broken, sold really well, were highly critically acclaimed, and then Apex Legends obviously was like one of the big battle royale successes of the last decade. So
Yeah.
it's so weird that like they're the ones being seemingly most heavily targeted by this particular wave of layoffs, and so that people don't really understand that. Also, as a part of this, they've canceled a new Titanfall project that was apparently going to be an extraction shooter, which I think that's probably fair. Extraction shooters have been failing left, right, and center, so that probably wouldn't have done well if it came out, as well as at least one other unknown project that people are still trying to sleuth out what it was going to be. But yeah, just a couple more layoffs for the bin. Yeah. Do you like any of these
That's
games? You play
interesting.
any of those games? Any of the Respawn games?
No,
No, you
but
didn't like them, or
you,
no, you didn't
you,
play them.
well, you said the Jedi Survivor ones, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So no, I mean I played the first one,
Right, you didn't like
or
that one, right?
that's Fallen Order, right? Yeah. And I was like, I'm not feeling it.
Yeah,
But there's a lot of reasons behind that, I believe. And then Titanfall, I never messed with. And Apex, that's not my bag. So no.
fair. Yeah, I mean they're all like at least decent games. I also didn't super care for the Star Wars ones. Apex is really good for what it is. The Titanfall games are, I think, genuinely great. But yeah, it's a real disappointment. Apparently, the expected cause of this is a combined failure of the replacement FIFA game. Apparently, did really bad after they lost the title for that. The like
Yeah.
EA Sports FC, that one didn't do really well.
Right.
Dragon Age Veilguard also didn't perform particularly well, apparently. Although that one's not being blamed for it. It's almost entirely off the back of the FC being failed, which is also why I'm like, okay, so then why lay off Respawn? Like they didn't make any of those games that failed, but whatever.
That's video games.
That's video games for you. But in the world of movies, we
Yes.
have the Sergeant Rock movie having been delayed. Do you? How do you
Right.
feel?
I feel well. How do I feel?
Yeah, your
You
favorite
say
comic book
delayed as
character.
if it was confirmed. Was it ever confirmed?
It was, yeah, yeah, yeah. They already started
Oh,
casting for it and stuff.
all right. This is something that somebody, I'm sure somebody's like super hyped for a Sergeant Rock film, and somebody's very mad that it's been delayed. But go ahead and tell us about this movie and why it exists,
So,
or is going to exist, or
yeah,
might stop existing. I don't know.
so Sergeant Rock is a DC Comics character
Yes.
who is just a World War II soldier. There's like some fantasy type stuff going on with it. He leads the DC version of the Howling Commandos, basically.
Right.
And it's just, we're going to hang out in World War II and do some stuff. Sergeant Rock had been cast as to be played by Colin Farrell, which is crazy.
Yeah. He's good.
He's real good. So, like, it probably would have been a good movie. He was also apparently going to be directed by, uh, and we don't know if the director will change with the delay, but it was slated to be directed by Luca Guadagnino, who I'm sure you know.
That's crazy.
Do you know this man?
Yeah, I do.
Is he your
I
favorite
know him
man?
personally. Is he my favorite man?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. What did he direct? What do you know him from?
Well, he did Challengers last year. He did Queer last year. He did a movie called Bones and All that's about cannibalism with
Okay.
Timothy
Which
Chalamet.
of those do you think applies
Um,
more directly to a World War II Sergeant Rock DC
Call Me
Comics movie?
by Your Name, also with Timothy Chalamet.
Oh, it's
Every
Hawkeye.
movie that I know from him, well, he did the Suspiria remake as well. Every movie that I know him for directing is all about like sexuality.
Okay.
So I don't really see how that transfers to Sergeant Rock. But,
I mean, look, Sergeant Rock might be, you don't know. He might be into some stuff.
maybe that's it. Maybe he's like, I want Colin Farrell, Sergeant Rock to have big sex in this movie. And DC was like, we're not ready for that. And he said that I'm going to walk.
I will wait until next year
I
when
will
you're ready.
Sergeant walk away.
Yeah. This is one of those ones where it just sort of like came out of left field. Like they also confirmed a Clayface movie at some point,
Yeah.
where it was just like, well, this guy had a script ready, and so we're gonna do it. The reason it's
Yeah.
being delayed is because it's mostly outdoors, and so they need to shoot it in the summer, but they're not able to get it together in time to shoot this summer. So they're like, oh,
Oh.
okay, so we'll just push it back a year. Is basically what it technically says that they're gonna like reevaluate it for next year. But from what I understand, all the rumblings are like, yeah, I mean, like, apparently it'll be relatively cheap to shoot, so they're just like, yeah, screw it. Why not, basically?
Yeah. How would you think a Sergeant Rock movie would perform?
I don't, not particularly well, I wouldn't think. I don't think it's going to be like some huge breakout success, unless it's really good and then it gets like really good word of mouth. But I really do think this is just like let's put, a lower budget on this thing, put some
Yeah.
bigger names in it, we get,
Just you
and see
you
what
can
happens.
make a movie out of anything.
Yeah.
And
Well,
and
for a lot of
you
people, it'll
should
just be a war movie, right? People
feel
like
encouraged to do so. Yeah,
someone's dad might get tricked into watching this not knowing.
a comic booky war type film.
Yeah.
I don't know, something about we still don't really know, and hopefully we get a better grasp on it when Superman comes out later this year. We don't really even know what this universe is.
Yeah.
So the fact that they're just like, yep, we get Superman, Clayface, and Sergeant Rock, and it's like, all right, we didn't want to squeeze some more tentpole things in there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we do
It,
also have like all those other ones confirmed,
we got
obviously.
we got more things coming. That's true, but it's just like
Like Lanterns
it's
will,
just
I think,
odd.
also
But
be out
hey,
next year.
you know what? I don't want to sound discouraging.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Yeah. I think that,
If it looks great, it looks, I'll see it.
yeah, I think that that's sort of the thing that has me most interested in sort of the DC slate going forward is that they're just like, yeah, I don't know. There's a creator who has a cool idea. Let's figure it out. Let's make it work. And it seems like they don't need it to all be this like really homogenous, like everything feels
No.
like the same universe sort of thing.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Like Clayface is going to be a horror movie. Superman is very clearly not that. Sergeant Rock's a war movie. Like we can have all these things take place in the same world without being the same movie. You know what I mean? And I think that's genuinely really exciting. I think that that's very interesting.
And also, it would be neat to see something like this. This would be a perfect example. Or if they tried their hand at Jonah Hex again, that would also be a good example. We can do things and they don't necessarily have to come back for a big superhero team up movie.
Yeah,
Like,
no, I mean,
we're feeling the effects of that. Well, we've done it before, but we feel the effects of it now with this Avengers thing, where it's like everyone's coming back for the new Avengers. We got the Thunderbolts coming back. We got everything. And it's just like, what if we just had a character that didn't care about that
yeah,
and just did a thing one time?
yeah.
So that would be neat in that regard.
I wouldn't even expect this character to show up in anything. I mean, he's a World War II
No,
character, and
I'm saying,
he doesn't in the comic books, like, as far as I'm aware, ever really come forward into like the big crossover events or anything. I really think it would
yeah,
just be like its own standalone thing, which is good.
yeah.
I mean,
That's what
it's awesome.
I'm saying.
That's what I would prefer, honestly.
All right, good luck, Sergeant Rock.
Good luck, Sergeant Rock. I hope you're good. I guess we'll probably have like, if it comes out, if it's shooting next year, then we'll probably have like 3 or 4 other DC things come out between now and then. So we'll have a better feel of what this universe is by then. Or Superman will fail, and then the whole thing will be dead.
That's true.
So
That could happen.
who's to say?
It could be dog ass,
It could be dog ass like Thunderbolts. It's not even that bad. I'm just doubling down now. Uh,
allegedly.
yeah, it's like I would get, not to throw back to the Thunderbolts thing too hard. I would probably give Thunderbolts like a 6 out of 10. Like, it's not terrible, but it's not good.
That is mid, as the kids say.
Hey, but speaking of delays, GTA 6 also officially delayed out of the year. RIP to everyone's fantasy critic.
Oh right. Who picked that in ours?
I think it was Jaime. I'm like pretty sure. It
Yep, that was his first pick,
wah
and
wah.
it was counterpicked.
Oh, good for whoever counterpicked it.
Abrar did. Good for him.
Way to go. Yeah, it was one of those things where at the beginning of this year I was like, it's either going to be GTA 6 or Ghost of Yotei that comes out this year. It will not be both. And then we got a release
Mhm,
date for Ghost of Yotei like last week.
mhm.
And I was like, oh, that doesn't sound good for GTA. They might know something behind the scenes. And then wouldn't you know it, literally a week later. Wah wah. The good news is we do have a month next year that it's planning on coming out. They said now it's coming out May of 2026. So
Wow, a full year away.
exactly a year away, just about. Do you care,
No,
frankly, about Grand Theft Auto 6?
no,
I think you might be like one of
no.
the only people on the planet who doesn't like those games or like played those games.
Well, not didn't like.
Yeah.
The only one that I really put time into when I was younger was GTA 4,
Huh.
I guess. I really didn't touch 5. I didn't play it like at all, which I know is crazy because that is the number one selling video game in the planet.
Yeah.
And I played some of the older ones. I played San Andreas and stuff, but
Did you follow the jam train?
I all I had to do was follow the damn train. No, do I care? Here's why I say I don't care. It's because it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Like it coming out in December versus May doesn't affect me at all. Especially because I don't think I was ever gonna buy it at launch.
Probably
It's
not.
like, oh, I'll play it eventually,
Not at the
maybe,
price that it's
probably.
almost certainly going to be.
Mm-mm.
Maybe by
But
next year they'll be able to charge $120 for it.
maybe by next year, the American dollar will mean something.
Unlikely.
Nope.
Real unlikely at this point.
Do you
Unfortunately.
care?
Yes and no. You know, it's one of those things where I enjoyed the Grand Theft Auto series well enough. I think it's dramatically overrated. I think Grand Theft Auto 4 is a bad game. And I think all the other ones are like fine. I have not really cared about a Rockstar game up to Red Dead 2. Red Dead 2 was the first like of that Rockstar formula where I really
Mhm.
like clicked with it. And I was like, this is a great, phenomenal game. Like I really truly understand this game.
That was the case for a lot of people, but like everyone said the same thing about Red Dead Redemption 1.
Yeah.
And you and I both played
Yeah,
that,
we
and
didn't
we're
like that one.
like, really? Like I don't hate it, but really? But
Yeah.
then Red Dead 2 seems to be the real shit for people, so
Red Dead 2 is I think genuinely really good. I think it's the best story that they've put together. Because the Grand Theft Auto thing like has never worked for me, and I think a lot of it is that I don't think Rockstar is funny, and I think that so much of what they're trying
sure.
to do with specifically 5 is like play on this like tropey, edgy, like, oh hey, we're gonna do ketamine and shoot clowns like nonsense, and it's like
Yeah,
you're not doing it in a fun way like a Saints Row, but you're also
right.
not taking it seriously enough for it to matter in that direction. So you're just like in the middle of this just like really uncomfortable valley of mediocrity. And so I
Mhm.
really don't understand it. And I think the storytelling in it is genuinely bad. Like 5 story is nothing. It's nothing. That game is good because its world is complete, because you can explore it and like go hunting and just like screw. It's a super fun world to just screw around in. The second you start engaging with it as a story and as a video game, then I
Yeah.
think it falls off.
Well, that's what I felt about 4 as well.
Yeah,
I didn't give a shit about the story like ever.
yeah, I think that's fair.
Do a majority of people who play GTA care about the story? And I don't mean
Genuinely couldn't tell you.
gamers
I
or
think at this
fans of
point,
the series. I mean everybody on the planet plays these games at least to some extent. Does a majority of those people care? The people
yeah, at this
who
point, I
just
would say
like,
probably not, because I think most of them are playing the online, which I think does have a
yeah,
story, but it's like its own
that's a
thing.
valid point. Yeah, yeah.
So I would
I
say
only ever
like
played
probably
GTA
not.
Online like once, and it was with you,
GTA Online is
and it was
toxic, and I hate
yeah, well, yeah.
it. Yeah, it's about right. But yeah, I'm sure I know a lot of people are really excited for this. I'm not necessarily excited for it. I will play it, probably not at launch, especially given what the price is most likely going to be. But
Yeah.
it is one that's like it's going to have to go on the list of like I'll have to get to it eventually, because somebody like the world is going to be talking about it. The world will stop when this game comes out, whether I like it or not. So
I mean, it's like the number one blockbuster game
yeah,
of what, like since the last GTA came out, I guess. Like, of course, people are going to be mad that it got pushed back, but it doesn't really affect me either way.
yeah, I
But we
think
pour
that
one
is
out. We pour one out for those who care.
for sure. Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of pouring one out, WWE is currently in the process of doing those post WrestleMania cuts that they do every year. This one is still ongoing, so we don't know exactly how bloody it'll be so far. But I will say there's already a couple of names that I think are a little surprising. Not like massively surprising, but there's a couple in here that are pretty surprising. Do you want to run through the names? I don't know if you still have it pulled up or if they've announced anybody since we started talking. But
I've got most of the names at the very least. So first and foremost, they cut Braun Strowman.
I think that is a little surprising, but they've cut him before, so it's hard to
They
say
have
that.
they have cut him before. They cut him Vince era, and
Yeah,
then Triple H, I think, brought him back, and then they cut him again. I guess they just don't have anything for him, which is, whatever.
yeah,
I During this time of like these people just lost their jobs, I never like to be like, oh, I like this person, or oh, I didn't care about this person, or they had nothing for whatever. These people lost their jobs, and that sucks. So we're
for
not going to do
sure.
any of that. But yeah, so they cut Strowman, which they've definitely done stuff with the past. I'll say one thing about Strowman, which is probably a little mean, but I see him as a future world heavyweight champion in Hulk Hogan's new promotion.
Does Hulk Hogan have a new promotion? Is he controlling his
Oh,
narrative?
we did not. Okay, Hulk Hogan and Eric Bischoff
Oh
are
my
teaming up
god.
to start their own promotion, which
Oh,
one of them, I think Hogan, said he hopes it becomes as big as WWE.
good luck, Hogan. What I'm getting from this is is Bischoff took it real personally that AEW just passed up Nitro.
100%.
Took it so personally. He's so hurt.
100%. What was it called? I want to find out. I want to remember what it was called. Real American Freestyle Wrestling.
What is that shortened to?
RAF, I guess. I don't know. But
Raf? Does the W go in there?
they're
Is it Raffer?
they're they're apparently touting it as an unscripted freestyle wrestling league.
What do you mean? What do you mean unscripted?
This is nothing. This is just doo-doo garbage.
What do you mean?
It's an embarrassment.
I'm do you okay, here's what I need to know. Do you think this actually ends up existing?
Oh man. I don't know. It would be funny if they started it and it didn't even go as long as Control Your Narrative. That would be funny.
I would have to have known how long Control Your Narrative existed. Not long,
It was like
clearly.
a year, wasn't it?
I don't know. Did they ever even have a pay-per-view?
I wouldn't know that.
I'm not gonna look it up. I don't care enough, frankly.
No. Are they even on Wikipedia?
I don't know. If you type in Control Your Narrative, it genuinely might not even be the first thing that comes up on the Google search.
Not anymore. No, no, no. Yeah,
Jesus.
okay. So we kind of segued away from the
Yeah,
releases and
sorry.
talked about Hulk Hogan's dumbass. What percentage of wrestling fans, and that goes all ages, so the percentage is not zero, but what percentage of wrestling fans still like Hulk Hogan?
It can't be high. It can't.
It has to be sub 10%.
There's probably a lot of people who still like respect him as like a legend from when they were kids. But yeah, I think at this point, between just like the shilling of the beer and the being a dickhead and the racism, which I'm counting as separate from being a dickhead because it goes
Well,
beyond, is
oh yeah, yeah.
like they're
Well,
nah.
I think the racism has to be what's won him over some fans
Yeah,
because
unfortunately,
it's not the wrestling. Because people who love wrestling know that Hulk Hogan's the biggest piece of shit dickhead
true.
ever.
Okay, fair though.
Wrestling fans like Bret Hart and you know what? Even Shawn Michaels was a massive dickhead, but wrestling fans still like Shawn Michaels.
That's true.
Hogan's like a special dickhead.
Yeah. Well, because
Is he
Hulk
gonna sue
Hogan.
us? Is he gonna sue Ready Set Replay like he took down Gawker because we called him a dickhead?
No, he doesn't care about us, I don't think. And if he does, honestly, it'd be really good publicity for us. Um, here's the thing.
Two losers go to war with Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, and win. Imagine that. No, but I think the thing about Shawn Michaels is like, was he a piece of shit? Like, yes, and he
Yeah.
might still be, but he was like
No.
endearingly so. You know what I mean? Like,
He's a cutie
like he
pie.
was a real dickhead. He had the whole like, oh, I lost my smile thing, and then like there's the Montreal Screw
Yeah.
job, and like we know that he screwed a lot of people out of like their jobs basically, and that's terrible. What he didn't do was, at least as
Uh,
far as we know,
uh,
sexual assault. I don't think. Did he?
no.
At this point, I
Not
can't
that
say
I
that
know of.
confidently about anybody
Yeah,
from
no.
that era,
No.
but I don't
Anybody.
think he
Any
did.
wrestler.
Yeah.
But not that I know of. So, you know.
As of this moment, as of 5/2/25, he's I think in the clear.
Anyways,
Who's
back to
next?
these releases.
Yeah, sorry. Back to the bad news.
So Braun Strowman got released. Dakota Kai, which is
That's
so unfortunate.
I hope she gets picked up somewhere. I'm
Yeah,
sure she will.
100%.
She's really good.
So the weird thing, I guess we could say the writing was on the wall with this one because she said a while ago, she was like, I'm good to go. I'm not injured right now. They're just not using me.
Right, right.
So that's a bummer. We're going to try to rapid fire through some of these, although I have something to say about one coming up. So Caden
Yeah.
Carter and Katana Chance, they were the women's tag team. They did stuff.
Right.
Katana Chance, formerly Casey Catanzaro.
Right. And formerly engaged to Ricochet or something?
I don't know if they were engaged. They were together.
Caden Carter's a really talented wrestler. Katana Chance, I
Mm.
don't remember.
She had a spark when she joined, but then whatever. I don't know.
Fair enough.
Shayna Baszler, I hate to see this one.
She'll definitely get picked up. There's no way she doesn't go to a TNA or an
100%.
AEW or something.
100%.
No way.
She's and you know what? She's a potential world champion, women's champion anywhere she goes because they should have been messing with her from day one on the
Yeah.
main roster WWE. Her NXT stuff was so crazy good.
Honestly, I think what the shakeup if she went to AEW and joined the like Death Riders faction
Oh, with her
with Marina Shafir.
girl Marina Shafir, yeah.
That'd be crazy. And they could bring in doesn't AEW have the other of the four horsewomen of MMA signed, but she's like in Ring of Honor? I forget her name.
Jessamine Duke?
Yeah, I think wasn't she signed there for like a little while, or like maybe not
Well,
signed, but she was like working Ring of Honor.
yeah, I don't know where she is right now.
Yeah.
We don't need Ronda though. No, thank you.
No, I don't think Ronda wants to really wrestle at this point anyway.
No,
But those
no
three
thanks.
with Shayna Baszler as a figurehead, go for it. I'm down for that.
Yeah. Okay. Gigi Dolan from NXT.
Who was in a relationship with Darby Allin for a long time.
They were married for a minute there.
I don't know what the relationship there is, but I remember her being pretty good. I wouldn't be upset to see her show up on TNA or AEW. Like I wouldn't be upset to see her again at all.
Jakara Jackson.
Don't know who that is. Yeah, sorry.
Eddie Thorpe.
I gotta look
Riley
up Eddie Thorpe,
Osborne.
because I swear I know that guy.
And then the entirety of the team Gallus, the two Coffee brothers and the other guy
Were
who
they?
just lost his job. I should remember his name.
Oh, Eddie Thorpe was the
Rude
like
not to.
Native American guy from NXT. That's why I know him.
Okay.
Where was Gallus like one of the last vestiges of NXT UK?
Joe Coffey, Mark Coffey, Wolfgang. Alba Fire, which you wouldn't because her
Isn't
name's
she
different.
already Like, oh no, Isla Dawn got let go already. Alba Fire's still around
Isla
somewhere.
Isla Dawn did get let go. That is true.
Yeah, Alba Fire's still around somewhere
Alba
for
Fire,
now.
formerly Kaylee Ray.
I liked her. I thought she was really good. I don't know what she's doing now. I don't.
Well,
Has she been on
she's Alba
TV?
Fire now.
Right, but like, has she even been on TV? I haven't seen her.
I would have to watch to know that, Daniel.
Okay, that's true. You're right. Okay, next.
We're talking about a television show that we don't watch actively.
Well, I watched some of it.
Anyway,
Yeah, so that's
and I
rough.
think there might have been a handful of others. Cora Jade was not listed here, but she seems to be let go, that's shocking to me as well.
Yeah,
I guess she was a little injury prone for a minute, and they just, I don't know, lost faith in her. It's weird.
yeah, that one's weird because it feels like that was one of the people that they were like really pushing as like this is a future
Yeah,
women's champion. She's gonna be
that was
great.
their homegrown girl for a minute there.
Yeah, man, I don't know. It's not great. But yeah, like you said, some sites are saying that she has been has been released, and other people are like not yet
Yeah, so I was
claiming
going off
that.
of Fightful Wrestling, and they had not said her name, but she did put out a tweet that she was like, thankful for everything I've done and looking forward to the future. And that's kind of something you say when you get cut by WWE. So I don't know.
Yeah, I'm also seeing a I'm also seeing a thing on what is this, Ringside? Apparently she's changed her social handles to Elena Black, so it's not looking great. It's the name she used before being signed by WWE, apparently.
Right.
So yeah,
Gotcha.
I think she may have been released. Unfortunately, this is
Yeah.
probably not the end of this list either. They always release a ton of people after WrestleMania as they like look at the next season basically of wrestling and say,
Yeah.
who do we not have room for? Who do we not have a storyline for? Um,
Yeah.
and this is coming off the back of we've already covered one wave of WWE releases since starting this podcast like 13 14 weeks ago. It's a little rough. Unfortunately, I think we kind of saw this coming both because they do it every year and because of the AAA
The AAA
acquisition.
acquisition. Yeah. Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if some more names show up. I think probably the remainder of the names that we see will be smaller names. It'll be like NXT people or people from like the Performance Center or something. And there may even be some names that we don't hear about at all that are people from like the offices. That always
Well,
happens
yeah,
too.
that is true. That's how this round started. Was a bunch of people on the creative side got released, got cut.
Mm-mm. Gotcha.
There was like a handful of people in writers' room or whatever.
Yeah,
Which unfortunately, the nature of the business, not a lot of people talk about that. So, and I'm not gonna look up the names, and I'm sorry, I'm part of the problem. But
unfortunately.
we say it all the time: video game releases, wrestling releases, our hearts go out. Like, stick with it. Luckily, the wrestling business
It's better now.
is
There's
it's
more
it's in a
options.
healthier state than it's been in a while. So there's places for all these people to go.
There are now four, I think, major, depending on new definition, promotions in the United States that you could go to because there's a New Japan
Hmm.
Strong, there's
Hmm.
TNA, and there's AEW as well as WWE.
Hmm.
So these people have the ability
And
potentially to find new jobs, and of course, All American.
Hulk Hogan.
Yeah,
Hulk Hogan setting up his thing so everyone can go get a
yeah.
job.
Hulk
Braun Strowman
Hogan.
will be the first world champion in the Hulk Hogan racist wrestling.
Do you
So
think
good
he'll
job.
actually? Do you think he'll actually fight for it, or do you think he'll get the championship like what's his dick? Who was it that got it down in the non-existent tournament? You know what I'm talking
Oh,
about?
oh, the Rio de Janeiro tournament for the
Yeah.
who was that?
Who was that?
Buddy Rogers?
It was something like that. It's an old ass guy whose name like was irrelevant by the time Raw started. You know.
Well, that's also how the Intercontinental Championship was established as well. It was in that same Rio de Janeiro non-existent thing.
No way. That's crazy.
So I think that's Pat Patterson did that.
It may have been Pat Patterson who was the first champion. I truly don't
No, he
know.
wasn't. He wasn't. He was not. It was Buddy Rogers.
Buddy Rogers. That makes
Yeah.
sense. I believe it. But Skyler, you wanna run through some of your movie world news real fast?
Yeah. Now that we got stupid about wrestling for a little too long, I've got a
It's only like 12 minutes. It's not too bad.
couple cleanup stories of in the movie business here. So first, let's talk about Jurassic World. Gareth Edwards did an interview about his new Jurassic World movie coming out this summer, and he talked about a specific dinosaur question mark. I guess it's a mutant or a monster.
At
It's
this
not
point, I
really a
think,
dinosaur.
yeah, I think at this point we have to call it a mutant.
He described it as quote, it's kind of like if the T-Rex was designed by H.R. Geiger, and then that whole thing had sex with a Rancor.
I'm gonna be honest. Looking at the design of it, I get the Rancor. I don't get the Geiger. Because when I think
Maybe because
Geiger, I think like Alien.
the xenomorph. Maybe it's because it doesn't have eyes. I can't
I
really tell from
guess.
here.
But I mean, the Rancor does have eyes, but they're pretty small.
Yeah, they're not good eyes.
Yeah.
Anyways, um, that's silly. Big monster. We're finally. I mean, this series has been leaning into the weird genetically modifying whatever, and it seems like they're really going for that in this one. So that's all fine, I guess. But the main reason I wanted to share this story was because the name of the monster
Mm.
is called the Distortus Rex or the D-Rex.
D-Rex.
And the reason I wanted to share that is because that's a bit silly, but who cares?
Sure.
But this made me flash back. I had like a That's So Raven vision if her visions went in the past instead of the future. It
Okay.
reminded me that way back in 2015, before Jurassic World 1 came out, there was, I don't remember if it was ever confirmed or if it was just rumors or whatever, but they were talking about the Indominus Rex was originally going to be named the D-Rex, but it wasn't
Mm.
Distortus, it was the Diabolus Rex.
Incredible.
Yeah, they should have called it that, I think.
It's so fun. Distortus, I think, is fine looking at what it is because it's clearly
Sure.
like a weird, gross, like not correctly made, like distorted monster. So
Yeah,
like I get it, I get it.
yeah.
I don't know. This movie, am I like excited for it? No, but I'm definitely more interested in it than I have been the previous World ones post the first one. I think the cast alone has me more interested. Like I love
Where on the
Mahershala Ali.
Oh yeah, definitely. Glad he's out of Blade prison.
Yeah,
Where on the dog ass scale do you think this movie's gonna rank?
I think it'll be exactly as good as Thunderbolts.
Okay, cool. All right.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, we'll take that.
yeah. I think that I'll watch it and I'll be like, this is pretty bad,
Okay.
but not like hateable. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, so next up, we've got Jeremy Renner in the news for reasons.
He launched a new
So
app, the Renner
no,
Jeremy
he didn't.
app.
He didn't.
Yay!
He should bring it back.
Bring it back.
The reason he's in the news is because apparently Marvel. He's mad at Marvel or mad at Disney. One of the
Mm.
two. Doesn't matter. He said this on a podcast,
Does it matter what
called the
podcast?
High Performance Podcast. I don't know what that is,
I've
but
never
God
heard of it in
bless
my
him.
life.
Thank you for this scoop. The Where Disney apparently asked him to do a season 2 of Hawkeye. There's a soft confirmation that Disney was at least looking to do a season 2. But then they offered him half the money that they paid him the first time around, and he was like, "Well, that's insulting." Which I
Half is
guess,
a pretty big
sure.
drop off.
Yeah, that's
That's
kind
a
of
that's a
nuts.
big drop off. If okay, because when I first saw this, I was like, oh, did they offer him the same amount of money and he wanted more or something? And if that was the
Yeah.
case, then like, no, he probably doesn't deserve more. But paying him half, that is like, all right, Disney, what are we looking at? What are we doing
In
here?
fact, he specifically said, "quote I didn't ask for any more money, mind you.
Yeah,
It's just pay me what I made the first time."
that's crazy.
Which, yeah, I agree with you, Jeremy. Bring your app back. I'll tell you to your face that I agree with you.
I
Uh,
I liked the Hawkeye show quite a bit actually. I
yeah,
think I
it's
think
a
it is
good,
one
it's a
of
good
the
one. It's one
better.
of the better ones.
Yeah, I would put it like right below, like the tier that is, well, at least Loki season one. I didn't watch season two, but Loki season one and WandaVision, I'd put it like one tier below that. Of like, this is really good. I really enjoy this.
Loki season 2 was on par of Loki season 1, I think.
Okay,
Um,
I know he becomes a tree or something.
a little bit, but
Yeah.
he's still gonna be in the the next movie, so he'll stop being a tree, I
What if there's
guess.
just like a tree in the background of one of the shots, and you're like, there he is.
Oh,
There's my
that's him.
guy.
That's him, and it's not Groot, mind you.
No, no, no.
Okay. All right, our last bit for movie news, even though that last one was technically TV news.
Sure.
We got some James Bond talk. So this article from Men's Journal specifically says top two actors to favorite two actors to become James Bond, but there's a short list of names following that, so I guess we'll see.
Mm.
Nothing is set in stone. As far as I'm concerned, this is all conjecture, and they talk about it as if it's like a betting pool of like who people think is most
Oh,
likely to become James
sure.
Bond,
Yeah.
which is ironic because number one is Henry Cavill, and I actually think that's the least likely, don't you?
I don't know. I feel like in the Amazon era, I feel like he checks all of the boxes that they would want to check. You know what I
That's
mean?
fair. Yeah, we are in a new Bond era. That's true.
I feel like he's exactly what Bezos would pick. And I don't even necessarily think he'd do a bad job. I think it's maybe sort of a boring pick, if anything, because I feel like he is the exact like cookie cutter template of what you would put in that room.
The surprise to me, if you want to call it a surprise, would be that the
Yes.
number two name people are throwing around talking about is an actor named Theo James.
I've heard this name.
Um, he apparently was in some of the Divergent movies. I can't attest to that. He was in a movie that I saw this year called The Monkey, the horror movie, the Stephen King short story movie,
Right.
where he played two characters, and he's good in it. He's funny in it. So I can. He's got kind of like a younger James Bond look. He is 40 though, so it's just like, I mean, I'm not saying that James Bond needs to be
Young.
younger than that.
I do
In
think,
fact, I think we've talked about this before, that
yeah.
like no James Bond actor is ever young when they start.
No, although I do feel like we're starting a new era here with Amazon, and if I was them, I would probably cast a little bit younger than the previous ones so that I could keep him for a long time. Granted,
Yeah,
Daniel Craig has done it for what, 5 movies now or something?
he did 5, yes.
So like that's a pretty good track record, but I also think that Amazon is more likely to pump out like kind of a bunch of these.
Apparently, the next name in the running is Aaron Taylor Johnson.
Oh,
I could see that.
yeah, all right.
That's a sexy James Bond man.
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of like him, but I also am like not like
Well,
super
no,
attached to him. You know what I mean?
I do like him. The problem is he says yes to a lot of bad movies. He's in good ones though. He was in
Yeah,
Nosferatu last year.
and Craven.
Okay. So then after that, couple more names. I've got three more names that are being thrown around. One is Jack Lowden, who I guess somewhat familiar with. He was in Dunkirk, but he was also in Fighting with My Family, the Page biopic. He was the brother. He
Sure.
was Zack Zodiac. So, and he's 34. Then we got Harris Dickinson, who was in a different wrestling movie. We've talked about him just the other week for some reason. He was in The Iron Claw as David Von Erich, and he's been in a couple other films that I've seen. Triangle of Sadness, if anyone's seen that. It's a weird ass movie. I think he's the youngest person on this list. And then the last one is James Norton, who I don't know.
Yeah, I've never heard that name before in my life, so
Oh, he was in the Bob Marley movie,
surely not
but
as
he's
Bob
white.
Marley. Yeah.
No. So there's just a couple of the names being tossed around for James Bond.
Of
All white
those,
dudes.
who would you pick?
All Well, I love Henry,
Sure.
but I don't see it happening.
I
Uh,
Yeah, that's fair.
I mean, the two biggest names are Henry Cavill and Aaron Taylor Johnson, right? There's
Hmm.
other names that have done things, but those are the two blockbuster names. If they went blockbuster, I would say Aaron Taylor Johnson, I think, could do a really good job. But of the rest here, I don't know. I do really like Harris Dickinson. I think he's really good. When it comes to James Bond, I'm willing to let whatever happens happen. I've seen all the movies. They're not all great, but some of them are really great. So, whatever. I think that wraps up all of our news BS.
Yeah. So Skylar, that means that it must all be time for the
Mm,
topic of the show. We're
mm.
gonna talk about our 5 favorite TV shows of all time, each creating a perfect list of the 10 best shows ever made. Because we will have, I'm sure, zero crossover. There's literally only one show on my list that I think may even appear on yours. So, would you like to go first, or shall I?
I'll go first, just
Coward.
because I
Just
feel
kidding.
like you can more confidently end us at the very end.
Sure. Okay. Sure.
And I'll say, I think every time we do a list, I do this bullshit disclaimer where I'm like,
I'm gonna name
listen,
7 other shows for.
these are the. Oh, you know what? Thank you. That reminds
Here's
me.
my 300
Let
honorary
me
mentions.
let me give you my honorary mentions, which I can only think of three
Okay, hey,
at the
that's
moment.
less than usual.
And these are not. Do I consider these the best shows of all time?
No, it doesn't
Not
have to be best
necess-
shows. It's our favorite.
Not
It is our
necessarily.
favorite shows audience, not the
Oh,
best
yeah, yeah.
shows.
Okay, but either way, my honorable mentions are these like my super duper favorites? Yes and no, I guess. Not necessarily, but they're my background shows. If I'm in the kitchen cooking,
Mm,
or if I'm working on something and I got something on the TV, this is like background noise, let it roll. And
Yeah.
those three shows are The Office, Parks and Rec, and Modern Family.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, those are all very much like throw it on in the background and forget about them shows. Not that they're
All
bad,
show
although I
all
do.
shows with characters that I enjoy quite a bit. All
Yeah,
shows with very funny bits.
for sure.
All shows you don't really need to pay attention to at
Absolutely
any
not.
given point.
I've never watched Parks and Rec like at all. I've seen bits from it, but I've never watched any of it. The Office, I have seen, I think, from start to finish 72,000 times because I had a roommate, Charles, hi Charles, who would just leave it playing on the TV all day. So I think I've seen, at least in passing, that entire show a lot,
Yeah,
which does have me like kind of sick of it. Not that
sure.
it's not bad, but I'm just like, when I see people, and it doesn't happen so much anymore, but with like the little cut off tie, and they're like, "Oh, I'm Jim Halpert," I'm like, bite me. I'm like,
What, just,
get
just
away
your
from me.
everyday life or on Halloween?
Like well, Halloween, I guess is fine. Although I think that's a really weak costume. Uh,
Yeah, well, that was
but
Jim's bit was weak costumes.
yeah, it also upsets me because I took a quiz like I don't know
I
5
guess
years ago or something.
he cut off the tie for his wedding. So like
Yeah,
people who have their wedding and they cut their tie.
yeah. If you do that at your wedding, that's so tacky. Don't do that. Your wedding is about you, not about Jim Halpert.
Our friend Anthony's gonna do that.
If he does, I'll laugh at him. I was gonna say walk out, but I respect him and love him too much to do that.
Do you have any honorable mentions before we get into the 5 and 5?
I do and I don't.
You don't have to.
There's a
It's
lot of ones
fine.
that like barely miss the list. What I will say is that like my list would be very different if we were including anime on this list. But we
Yeah,
are not. We're saving that for a
specifically
different list.
not.
There are probably like two anime that would have made this list. Um,
There's see that's crazy because there's one that would have for sure made my list, but it's not the one you'd think.
yeah, that's
But yeah, we'll
you
save
put
that for
yeah,
another time.
yeah. But yeah, what's your number five? Did you rank them? I have mine ranked currently now. I ranked them while we were talking. But do you?
I guess kind of. It's also this comes with the asterisks of like these are the five that I remember off the top of my head of
Okay.
like I really love this show. So there might be others out there. When in making this list, I realized I haven't for a while watched a whole lot of television.
Yeah, that might be
I'm
something.
mostly a movie guy.
That might be something that's surprising to people. Is like you are very much the like movie person between the two of us, like by a lot.
I've
Like you watch
seen a
7,000 movies a day. You wake up and
I've
watch a
seen a
movie.
few. I've seen a few.
You watch a movie on the toilet. I am not a movie
Sometimes.
guy, but I would say between the two of us, I'm probably the TV guy. I watch a
Yeah, well,
lot of TV
definitely.
shows,
Definitely.
including like
Um,
reality shows and stuff that I don't think you would even ever touch.
well, reality shows, obviously, I haven't watched Survivor. I won't go toe to toe with you on that.
That's right.
I've watched Hell's Kitchen and some of Ink Master,
Right.
and sometimes I'll watch The Masked Singer with my family.
Sure.
That about does it for reality,
We are
I think.
somehow, despite being best friends, on just like completely different pop culture wavelengths, which is
Yeah.
very good for this podcast, I would say, but like maybe surprising to people.
Well, you know what? We'll rip this band-aid off. I don't have Star Trek on my list.
Yeah, okay. I was honestly kind of expecting a Star Trek on there, just because of like recency bias.
No.
Yeah,
I'm loving watching Star Trek for our
me
rewatch.
too.
My favorite Star Trek is Star Trek Voyager. I love that crew. But no, I don't have Star Trek on my list. Here we go. Number
Number five,
5.
baby.
And it may shock people. No, it wouldn't. They don't
They
know
don't know
me.
you. Will it shock
This is what
me?
this is for. They learn. It might, I don't know. Probably not, because I used to talk about it all the time. Arrested Development.
Okay, yeah. There's always money in the banana stand.
Specifically seasons 1, 2, and 3
Are those the ones that were
before it
not?
became
Yeah,
before it became the Netflix thing. And then it had kind of trouble from there. I'm gonna be honest, I don't even remember season 5, but seasons 1, 2, and 3 of Arrested Development are just most goated television comedy. I think it's so perfect, so classic, such a great cast of very funny people. That's kind of why I put it last, was because this is my favorite show. I only like half of it basically,
Mm,
so that's why it's number 5.
that's fair. I look again. This is our favorite shows. So even
Yeah.
as long as you feel confidently that like you love this
Oh yeah.
show, then that's
You
like you don't need to justify it too much.
you'll
Um,
never get me to say that I don't like Arrested Development. It's
Gotcha.
so that classic run, the
until every
original run
single
was
cast
so
member
good.
gets canceled.
I think they've got one of them.
Oh no. I won't ask
Yeah,
which one.
one of
I
them
don't
did
want to know.
something. No, you don't want to know. But yeah, spoilers. My number 4 pick is also I love most of the show, so we'll get to that.
Oh, okay.
That's a hint to what it is.
Exciting. My number 5 show is a weird one. My
Hmm.
number 5 show is Taskmaster.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Not that
So
weird.
it's I think it is weird in that it does not even air on television in the United States.
That's true.
So, um, the Taskmaster, for people who don't know, which I'm going to assume is probably a lot of people, is I guess, a reality TV show. It is a British light comedy show where
Yeah.
5 comedians are brought on to sort of a competition, although it's for nothing, kind of Whose Line Is It Anyway style, where they are given tasks and they are asked to complete them. And most of the time, they don't really seem to care that much about like winning. It's more about just like having fun and telling jokes while you're doing it. The most recent season has David Mizukas, whatever, that guy. You
Hmm.
know what I'm talking about?
Not
He's
by name.
he's American. He's an American comedian, so it's like a shocker because he's like, I think he's the first American to come over and play it. But we're on like season or series 19 or something at this point, so there's been a lot of people. That being said, some of the tasks will be things like find a way to get these jars of vinegar off the back of your hand without spilling it, and then take those jars and put them in the fish tank. But then the fish tank will be a tank that's being driven by a fish. Like
Mhm.
like that's the level of thing that we're talking about here. Like it is very just like jokey, funny, haha. It is so good. Everyone on it has been genuinely hilarious. If you've watched like the quiz of the week or 8 out of 10 cats or whatever the hell that one's called, like any
Would
of
I
those,
Lie to You is one of my favorites.
would I lie to you? Like any of those light comedy British shows, you will likely know some of the cast members at some point. But a lot of them also just like show up in the background of random things. Like I was watching Wonder Woman and Kareem Chowdhury just
Oh,
like showed up in the background of a couple scenes. He has like 2 lines. I'm like, that's Kareem Chowdhury, and everyone was like, what the hell are you talking about? Like
he
it's a
was
really
in
fun show for that.
he was in Guardians of the Galaxy 3 as well.
Yes, and he's a friend. He played the Walrus,
Yeah.
and he's I think a friend of Post Malone. It's like random things.
I think Post Malone's friends with everybody.
He's a cool guy. But it's a really great show, really funny. At the end, they win a golden head, like a golden bust of the host of the show, Greg Davies. This is a
Mhm.
show that I just binge watch constantly every time a new episode shows up because it just shows up on my YouTube feed because that's how we get it in the States. Uh,
Mhm.
is they have their own YouTube channel. It's not being like pirated. They post it themselves. And every time it pops up, I watch it like that day. I am very attached to it, and to the point where I'm also watching the I am watching every English language version of this show. I watched the New Zealand one. I watched the Australian one. I even at one point watched the Swedish one. That one was not in English and it was a lot harder to watch. But like it is really funny. I highly recommend it to everybody.
Good stuff.
Yeah. What's your number 4?
All right, number 4, as alluded before, it's a show that I like most of. It's Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones. I toyed with putting that on my list, and I like that would probably be my like number 7 or something. But yeah,
I
those
mean,
first what 4 or 5 seasons? How many seasons did it end up getting? Was it 5 seasons total?
no. It went
It
like
was like 8 or something.
8.
Okay, I would say those first like 5 or 6 seasons then were really good. It was the last one and the one before that where it started really slipping off for me.
Yeah, it was 8 seasons long, and I would say so all the way to the end of season 5, it had the books, and then season 6 is where it started to go past the books, and I still think season 6 was fairly solid. It
Yeah,
was
I struggle to remember
season
what was in what season, but I do remember that it made it I think a little bit past the books before I was like I don't know about this anymore.
season 6 was the Battle of the Bastards season.
That's a good season.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then it was 7 and 8 where we start to lose it a little bit. 7 I was still okay with. 8 it was well, it didn't stick the landing as people know.
Yeah, no, absolutely
But
not.
I still think like when that show was peak, it was peak.
It was a show that
Uh
every single person on the planet was watching. You didn't have to
yeah.
ask, "Do you watch Game of Thrones?" You'd be like, "Did you see the episode?" And people knew what you talked about.
Yeah,
Like it was the zeitgeist for multiple years, for a very long time.
100%.
Um,
Magical time.
yeah, phenomenal show until it wasn't.
Basically, and I don't know. It's been a while since I've watched it
It's
or
been a
rewatched
while.
it.
Sorry, go on.
It's okay. I wonder like what it would be. Well, I've been watching House of the Dragon, so I'm still very much in the world, I guess.
Yeah, House of the Dragon is good,
That's
but not as good. Not as.
well, it's not as good as when Game of Thrones was at its best, but it's
Yes.
not as bad certainly as when it was at its worst.
Is it
So
fair to say it is as good as like season 6?
probably,
All right,
um,
we found it. We found the territory.
probably. What's Hard Home is the best episode of Game of Thrones, right?
That's the spoilers, I guess. That's the one where he goes north and then the zombies happen.
Hmm. Hmm.
That's a great one. I would also say, I mean, most iconic. There's obviously like the Red Wedding. I think Battle of the Bastards is
Yeah,
huge.
yeah.
Um,
And then the season 4 battle on the wall, Watchers on the Wall, whatever it's called.
I would even argue I would slip in the season 1 finale.
Season 1. Oh, the big twist for people who didn't read the books.
Yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
I think that's huge. I think it's iconic.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Good stuff until it wasn't. That's just what the review is.
Yeah. Hey, it's your favorite show, and I think it's a good ass pick. I respect the hell out of it. My number 4 is another potentially weird one. It's again not a show that I think people would like say like, oh, is this great like acclaimed show? Oh my god, it's so whatever. It's MythBusters.
Okay.
MythBusters was like my favorite show up through middle school, basically as long as the show existed. Because at a certain point, the like Jamie and Adam left, or like they started feuding, or I don't. There was some like behind the scenes stuff that happened, and at that point, it like got canceled, and it got brought back, and it was like the White Rabbit project, and it was Grant and Tori and yeah, and that was not as good, but I still enjoyed that. Core MythBusters is core to like my childhood and my upbringing in a way that is wildly palpable, like in like maybe pathetically so, to the point where like my dream job as a kid was I wanted to be a Mythbuster, and then as soon as that stopped being a feasible real option, which it never really was, but you can't tell that to a 8-year-old, then I was like I want to be a Disney Imagineer, because they worked sort of in a similar field as that before the
Yeah,
show.
that's cool.
I think it's
They have a basketball hoop inside the Matterhorn.
I did know that actually, and I think I know that because of you.
Okay,
Because
continue.
it like Aragorn breaking his foot is is one of those trivia things
Yeah.
that I have heard 5,000 times from you.
Every time we're watching something and there's the Matterhorn for
Yeah.
some reason, I say,
There's a basketball hoop in there. But no, it's a really phenomenal show. Probably one of my favorite episodes in it is I guess type of episode is when they take things that happen in like a TV show or a movie and see if that's realistic. And most of the time, obviously, it's not. But it's always super exciting. I love the humor of it. The quote of like, I reject your reality and substitute my own was like a thing that I genuinely said as a kid. And looking back, I'm like, that's super cringe, but I'm also like, hell yeah. Hell yeah,
Yeah.
brother.
Yeah.
Mythbusters, goated show. Goated television.
Very good.
Do I have to explain what Mythbusters is? Do people not know what Mythbusters is? Do you think?
People know. People, I don't know.
It's a TV show where a bunch of science nerds who worked on like props for movies go back and look at like sort of like not folklore, I guess, but like stories of like, hey, did you hear that this thing happened? Like, what would you
urban
call
myths.
it? Urban legends, urban myths, and they go back and they see whether or not that's even realistic using science and frankly blowing a lot of things up for fun.
They
So
famously did the "Could Rose have made room for Jack on the Titanic" door?
they did that. That's one of the movie ones. I think the movie ones are great. I think they did the DB Cooper thing even. Like they've done a lot. They've done a lot.
Cool.
Good ass show. Anyway, what's your number 3?
My number 3 is a good show.
I would
And
hope so.
a shorter show, a very short show. It's Firefly.
Another one I thought about putting on my list, but then decided against it. But yes,
Man, it's in recent years. I don't know if it's because I grew out of it or because he's a bad person, but I've gotten really tired of Joss Whedonisms.
sure, yeah,
I think a lot of people have fallen out of love with Whedon and the quips and the whatever. But I think Firefly is him at his best before he went insane.
I agree. Can I
Because
ask you a possibly
I
sidetracking
actually have a
question?
theory. I have a theory. What? Go ahead. What?
Did you watch Buffy? Do you care for Buffy?
I did not watch Buffy,
Okay,
but I'm not opposed to watching Buffy someday.
okay, we should do that at some point.
Sure. We got a whole ass show for
We
it.
got a whole show for that.
Yeah, no. So speaking of Buffy, famously, he allowed some not okay things to happen on the set of Buffy
Yeah, apparently.
to women and such. And my theory, which I don't even necessarily think it's cool to have a theory about how this happened, but I think Firefly getting canceled was his villain origin story. I can't prove for certain that
Yeah.
he wasn't a scumbag on that set as well, although all the actors on that show love him and will never speak a bad word about him. But I don't know. It just the puzzle
Yeah.
pieces align, don't
Maybe
they?
maybe he wasn't insane at that point. I don't know. I love Firefly. I think the world building of it is really interesting, even though genuinely we get kind of not a lot of it. Like
Mm-mm.
like we don't really get to know I can't even remember the names of like what the army of the brown coats was called, or like who the like empire stand-in was. I don't remember the names of the factions, but we never really
The
got a ton of information about them.
the bad guys are the Alliance,
Fits.
and
Yeah, that makes sense.
brown coats were just like that was the name for the resistance.
Right, did not have like a bigger name than that.
I don't remember.
I don't either, obviously. But yeah, like we never got a ton of like macro world building. It was the micro world building that was really good. Like the individual
Yeah,
cultures of like, oh, this one planet where you dance with this girl and now you're married, or like, oh hey, this one planet is like one of the cultures that has survived extremely powerfully for some reason is like the Chinese culture, and they're like selling all these ships and stuff. Like I love all of that. There's so much interesting stuff that I feel like we could have gotten from this show and we never did, and so I feel like that disappointment is what kept it off of my list. But what
yeah,
we did get was phenomenal. So
yeah. It's now in the year 2025, being able to have this show, which was 13, 14 episodes, something like that. I think it might have been 14. Um, and then the movie Serenity, of course. Just having that is it's like a peek into a world that we don't have all the information to, but we're seeing it through like this lens, and I think it's just a very well made show that Fox never believed in from the get go. And it was like screwed over by because they had the pilot, which was a really good episode, but they didn't want to air the pilot first, so they aired the
uh
train heist episode first because it had more action, but it also
oh,
already had all of
the
our characters
literally
established,
we went through the same Star Trek arc. We went through the same,
more or less.
yeah,
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah,
Hey,
but I
maybe someone
guess
will pick it back up
it
like 20
mattered.
years after, like they did with Star Trek Next Gen, and then we'll get like a new Firefly show with a different writer because Joss Whedon is canceled
I
now.
don't know. I think at this point, yeah,
Yeah,
well, Joss being canceled is the nail in the coffin for sure.
I think
But
that
also,
universe could exist.
even if that weren't the case, I don't know if they'd be able to recapture the magic of that crew because I think that
No,
crew is what makes the show.
I I would agree, but I mean to put it in what is apparently a very fitting comparison, like the crew of Star Trek the original series is great and we love them, but like the next gen crew is still also great. You know what I mean?
That's
Like
true.
I think if you put the right team on it, it could be good. I understand the trepidation for sure, but I think it could happen. But it would have to be a
Mhm.
completely new crew, completely new writers, and just like be set in that world. And I think that could be good.
I would prefer they don't touch it, but I guess we'll see what happens in
I'm
the
more
future.
they won't touch it. Is realistically what's going to happen is they'll just do
Yeah,
nothing. I
yeah.
don't even know who owns those rights at this point.
Well, it was a Fox show, so
So Disney, I
theoretically,
guess.
I I I guess I don't
Crazy,
know.
huh? Well, are you prepared for my number three?
Give me number three.
Okay, brace yourself. This is the one I think is most likely that I'm going to be stealing from you.
Uh-oh.
There's another one on here
Uh-oh.
that I might be stealing from you, but my number three is Batman the Animated Series. Did I get you?
Okay, no, we're
Did
good.
I
That's not
scoop
on
you?
my list.
Did I get your ass? Okay.
It's not on my list. We're okay.
Batman the Animated Series is my childhood.
Yeah.
This was my Saturday morning cartoon. It was like right up there with like Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! I was watching these constantly. But unlike those first two, I think this one also holds up extremely well in my adult life. We are
Mm.
watching it currently for a rewatch series on a different podcast, and so many of the episodes still hold up and are still very powerful, emotionally well written. I think the characters are some of the most iconic iterations of all of the Batman characters, which is saying a lot because we've had dozens of
Yeah.
versions of most of these characters at this point.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
And with the exception of a handful, I would still say that these are the definitive versions. Like this is my definitive version of Batman. This is my definitive version of the Joker. This is my Alfred. Like so many of these characters these are like the de facto versions of these characters in my head.
Mhm.
Um, And as a big like DC fan, I think that that's very impressive for it. I
I
also
agree.
think that it tackles a lot of things that are unusual for a children's cartoon at the time. Like it tackles the concept of like loss and depression and like finding a new family and doing all of these things in a way that I
Yeah.
think is incredibly effective and again just like something you didn't see in shows like this. And it also had a bunch of little like spin-off things that happened because of it that I think are also hugely amazing that I didn't put on my list because to me it's like all the same universe, like the whole like DCAU animated universe,
Yeah.
which is what I guess the Superman animated series, Justice League Unlimited, and Teen Titans.
Actually, Teen Titans not part of it. I looked
It's
this up the
not,
other day.
it's not, but I would count it because it's like
It's adjacent.
yeah,
So there was gonna be a Teen Titans show specifically in the DC animated universe, but then they repurposed it into what Teen Titans was. So it's adjacent.
yeah. Like
But
I still count it because it's
Static
clearly
Shock,
like
Static Shock is in there.
yeah. So like I still count Teen Titans as part of that because like it clearly exists because of that. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So like
Same timeline
all
and
of these
everything.
things I think are phenomenal, but for me, the core of it is Batman animated, and I think it is surely the one that probably holds up the best.
Hmm.
So that's my number 3, Batman the animated series, an absolute goat.
My number 2 is also an animated show.
Okay, that's good. That means it's not one of my other ones.
It is Avatar: The Last Airbender.
I knew this would be on your list. I
It
even called
had
you
to
out on
be.
it in our chat.
It had to be. It's it's so good.
It's very good.
It's so good.
It's very very good.
Um, man,
Are you also a Korra girly?
I watched Korra. I'm cool with Korra.
Mm,
I'm all right with it.
Korra
I
can
didn't
hang.
try to watch it when it was happening, so I don't know if that helped. I know a lot of people watched like season 1 of Korra as it came out, and they were like, "This is okay," and then season 2 is notoriously the bad one, and
Yeah,
everyone was like,
apparently.
"No, we draw the line at this." But then season 3's pretty cool from what I remember. But Avatar is a show that I will rewatch every once in a while, like maybe like once every 2 years. I'll be like, you know what, I haven't seen that in a while, and it's just such a banger show. Like, I think I said it before because on that same podcast that we're rewatching Batman,
Mhm.
I also watched Last Airbender with our friend Abrar who had never seen it before,
On the Brown
and
Boy
I was like,
Wonders
"You gotta watch
podcast.
this."
We should
Brown
probably
Boy
plug
Wonders
it since
podcast.
we're talking
Shout
about it
out.
so much.
Sure. And I was like, "You should watch this." He's like, "We'll watch it together." And I've said it on there that even the bad episodes of Last Airbender
Yeah.
aren't bad. They're still good. It's just like, it's not as banger as the other ones. So
What would you say are the bad ones?
I think the one that comes to mind always when I think about them is season 3 when Katara becomes the Painted Lady and she does like a whole environmentalist stance. And it's not
Sure.
even bad. It's still a good episode. It's just like the timing of it seems weird because we're in Fire Nation territory and we need to do other shit. It just seems to slow down the progressing story, I guess. But without a doubt, I mean, the show ends so strong. Like that, the finale of that show is so amazing. But I still think the strongest season through and through is season 2, with Zuko having his like being a good guy almost kills him, literally.
Yeah, his getting hot arc.
Oh yeah, he grows the hair out and he goes on a date. So awesome. Everything in Ba Sing Se is so cool.
Nothing happened in Ba Sing Se. There's no war in Ba Sing Se. We know
There's no
this.
war.
How dare you
Um,
apply otherwise?
I think it's a damn near perfect kid show, and it's to the point that it transcends being a kid show and anyone can watch it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um, which I'm
Just
sure
like Bluey.
if I showed up at a party and started talking to people about Avatar: The Last Airbender, I would seem like a weirdo. But
I don't
it's a
think
good show,
if
man.
they
I
were
don't know
our
what to
age,
tell
you
you.
would not be. Anyone
That's
our
fair.
age has at least has some level of respect for Avatar. You might get like 1 second of the blue one, and then you'd be like, no.
Then you just karate kick that guy's head off.
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
My number 2 show. You knew it had to be on here. Actually, you know what both of my next 2 are.
Well, I definitely know. I definitely know what one of them is.
You
I'm
know
trying
what?
to think
No,
of it.
you know what both of them are.
Okay.
Search your heart. Let fate
Okay.
decide.
You know it to
Um,
be true.
the my number two most favorite show of all time is Survivor.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then yeah, I did know what they both were.
Survivor is one of the best shows ever made. I will fight on that hill for the rest of my life. Watching Survivor is one of my literally my earliest memories. Is sitting on the floor in front of my dad watching Survivor Borneo, watching Richard Hatch win, watching Sue Hawk's now iconic like television legend Snakes and Rats just like I want to say speech or monologue, but it's really just like she's having a breakdown on live TV. It is an absolutely amazingly powerful show. I think the times that we have seen people grow, like I have been with this show for 25 years now, and like I have lapsed and come back to it multiple times, and it has always been there for me. It is that show for me. Like there were so many just like amazing moments in it. Some of them are going to sound really stupid to you out of context, but like watching Sari finally get across that balance board, watching, God, I don't even know, watching Russell Hantz get his just desserts twice, watching Boston Rob and Amber get married, watching, oh my God, just so many things. Watching, even like recently, watching Kenzie be there and help Ben with his night terrors. Like so many of these just like amazing moments of like humanity and growth and love and empathy, and sometimes evil, but mostly empathy. They seem to largely cast good people, which is I think really good. Um, like when I wrote my college essays, and it was like write about your heroes. One of my heroes was Colby Donaldson from Survivor Australia. Like I love that dude. Um, it is that show. It is amazing. It is constant. I think the thing that has helped it stand the test of time so much more powerfully than any other reality show is it is the entire impetus of its jury system. The For people who don't know, if you somehow don't know about Survivor at this point, like what are you doing? It's existed for basically my entire life. You should, even if you haven't watched it, you should know what this show is.
That's me.
Um,
You just described me.
but like you know what it is. You know what Survivor is.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I haven't watched it, but I know what it is. You
Is
described me.
Survivor at a certain point in the show, everyone who starts getting voted out becomes the jury. And at the end of the game, the jury votes on who wins. So you can't just be this like conniving, backstabbing, terrible person who gets their way every single time. You have to genuinely make connections with these people. You have to understand what it is that these people are going to look for in a Survivor winner. What are they going to vote for at the end of the day? It is this like masterful play, honestly, in terms of the people who win, but also in terms of the people who make the game, of like, it prevents you from just going like absolutely insane. Is you have to do moves that are not just effective, but also impress people. Like, and that also helps it adapt with the times consistently, because like what people care about over time has changed. Like the way that you, in the first couple seasons, people didn't respect voting blocks. They didn't respect, hardcore play. Now they do. Now they're like, oh, you got me, haha. Like they don't hold those grudges the same way, because they understand like what the show is, and it has become so much more about like, I don't know, like making these masterful strategy plays. Like in the previous season, we're on 48 right now. 47 had this ridiculously like complicated strategy that came together. It was called Project Italy. It was insane. I can't believe it worked. Super amazing. I could talk about the show forever. I think that whether intentional or not, the formatting of this show makes it this like perfect time capsule of every single year it comes out. Like every single time it comes out, it is the perfect encapsulation of what was happening in that year. Like you go back to 2000 and you're like, whoa. You go to 2010, you're like, ugh. You go to the COVID era once, and you're like, you feel that. They're like, I'm just glad to be outside, frankly. You
Yeah.
know, it's just so good. It is absolutely good. One of the best shows ever made, I think personally. Uh, it is weird that I have been watching Jeff Probst on TV since like basically the day I was born. Like
Yeah.
since the
Yeah.
day that my consciousness became able to form memories, I was watching Jeff Probst on TV, and I'm still watching him.
He delivered you. He
he,
was in the room.
he delivered me unto television.
Yeah.
Um, but no, yeah, it's really good. I'm going to force you to watch some of it at some point. Not all of it, but some of it at
I
some point.
would be surprised
Yeah.
if in our tenure here we do not do at least one season of Survivor.
Yeah. I'm gonna find
for
out
our
like what
and I
what the
and I
best one for
know
you
for
is.
a fact
Yeah,
we're gonna be doing your number one show on rewatch.
for sure. I think we need to wait on
I
that one, but we'll get to it.
we'll hold off for a bit because it's a big one,
Yeah.
but it'll happen.
What is your number? Are we at number one for you?
Yeah,
What is your
we're at
number
number one.
one?
My number one show is actually two shows. Haha, I cheated. Not
You,
really. No.
you're such a cheater.
No.
I chose
So
Pokemon Red and Blue. Okay, well that's fine.
this one shouldn't be a surprise because it's touted as one of the greatest shows of the past 10, 15 years.
Mm.
My number one show is Breaking Bad.
Bro.
And by proxy, Better Call Saul as well.
Okay, all right. I am gonna force you to pick one, and it's gonna be Breaking Bad.
No,
But I hear you.
the one I
I
pick
feel
is
you.
Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
I'm just taking this moment to say Better Call Saul is also very, very good.
Yeah.
When Better Call Saul started, it didn't quite have me. I was like, do we need this? But by the time you get rolling into it, it's so good. But no, Breaking Bad is. Yeah, I've watched it many times. We'll just say that.
I distinctly remember this was Breaking Bad is also a show I love. I distinctly remember freshman year of college. I don't remember what season it was. But I distinctly remember watching this show every single week down in the lobby of my dorm with most of the people who lived there. Like it was a huge show at the time.
I want to say that would have been like the last season.
I think it was. It was definitely close to the end. Because before that season started, we rewatched like 3 seasons. Like as a quote unquote family, like as the dorm, we watched the first 3 seasons together, and then watched the finale.
Is the big like final season like mid-season cliffhanger where we're gonna do spoilers
It's fine,
'cause
yeah.
It's a very old show.
It's iconic. People know at this
Where
point.
Hank finds out Walt is doing it
On the toilet, doing a big poop.
on the toilet. He's sitting on the toilet and he finds out that happened during our senior year. I'm pretty sure. And I was not watching to that point.
No, I hadn't either.
A friend of ours was like, "Oh man, did you see Breaking Bad?" I was like, "I don't watch Breaking Bad." He was like, "What? You gotta watch it." You know what friend I'm talking about?
Yeah, from the impression. Yeah,
Yeah,
from the
and then it the show was getting into the final throes of everything,
Mm.
and I was like, I'm gonna just catch up on this show. I think I had like 2 weeks before it was over. I was like, I'm gonna catch up on this show before it ends, just to be part of that conversation. And I think I binged the whole thing in like 3 days,
Nice.
which was 5
That's
seasons.
a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was just it's just like, oh my god. And then since then, I've watched it probably like 5 or 6 more times.
Yeah,
So
I
yeah,
mean-
when I said I don't watch a lot of TV, what I mean is I don't watch a lot of new TV because I keep watching
watch
the
the
same
old-
things over and over again.
You do that with video games
What-
too, to be fair.
I do. Well, I'm trying not to. That's
Not
what,
right now. Not this year. This year you've been playing a ton of stuff.
I'm trying not to do that with all facets of media. I'm trying to experience new things and old things that I haven't done before.
It's not bad to go back and play things or rewatch things.
No,
that you
and
love.
I'll never
That's-
stop.
No, okay, yeah. Don't stop.
Playing Oblivion this week.
Yeah, yeah. But new Oblivion.
Yeah, new Oblivion counts.
Yeah. All right. Are you ready for my number one that you already know what it is?
I'm so ready. I could sing the theme song, but I won't.
Yeah, but I might. Anyone who knows me will have known what these top 2 shows were because they are my life. They will
Frankly,
have.
it's all you ever talk about.
They would have. All right, bro. So they certainly would have known about Survivor. I've been talking about it a lot more recently. But also in that same vein for me is, of course, Smallville.
Somebody save me.
Somebody say. I think it is much like the Batman animated series is my de facto version of Batman and so many of those characters. I truly, genuinely believe that Michael Rosenbaum's Lex Luthor is the best Lex Luthor we have ever had, and I will not even hear arguments against that at this point. Maybe Nicholas Hoult will be great. Yeah, maybe he'll be great. I don't know. But even then, he apparently has taken Michael Rosenbaum as a reference point. So even then, you would have to be like, but but because Smallville, this happened. And
What? Rosenbaum walked so Holt could run.
exactly. Rosenbaum shaved his head for 10 years so that Nicholas Holt could run.
Got a good bald head.
It's a good bald head. Honestly, I think he looked really attractive with bald. So,
Yeah.
and also in much the same way, I think for me, Tom Welling is my Superman. Is he the best Superman? Yes. That one I will. That one you thought that sentence was going to go different.
You started that. You were gonna say maybe not necessarily, and then you just, you know what? Fuck it. No, double down.
No, I intentionally misled you on that one. Because here's the thing. That's one where I will hear arguments about. Like if you're like Henry Cavill's my favorite Superman, I'll be like he might be like physically the best fit. I think that maybe even he's a really good actor, but he just didn't get any like writing. Like the writing wasn't there for him.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I wouldn't say Cavill's
And
the
some
best
of
one.
the older ones, you know, like again, I think they're
If
great,
anything,
but I think you
it
go
would be
back
Chris
and
Reeve. That would
yeah,
be.
I think Christopher Reeve is like probably the most iconic Superman. But I also would say that I mean, those movies are for me they're pretty hit and miss. I really like the first one. The second one's good. From there, we don't need to talk about
Yeah,
this.
yeah. I think that's not a. People
Um,
are on board with that.
okay,
We
I
can,
didn't know if that was a hot take. I didn't know I was going to
no,
catch flack for that.
3 and 4 are the bad ones.
Okay, that makes sense.
Although 3 can get a pass by some people. But
Three's fun. I enjoyed three well
4
enough.
4 is the bad one for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, and I even like Returns, although I don't think it's a good one, but I do like it.
I like Returns as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's been a lot of like good Supermen. For me, Tom Welling is still the best one. I think he's, even though he never like officially really becomes Superman. I think the biggest thing people hold against this is like, you're telling me that all this stuff happened when he was a kid, and what you need to understand is like this may have started as like the prequel series, but what it ended up being is in Elseworlds where Superman is in high school. Like that's what it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a different. It's just a different one. It's just a different take on Superman, and I think that the take is really great. This is not one that I watched like when it first started airing. I think I started watching it for the first time in like high school, which was it turns out perfect
Right.
because that's when
Yeah.
Smallville he starts in freshman year in high school. I think it has some of the best acting from some of the characters that you would not expect necessarily to be like the best actors in a series. Like Ma and Pa Kent, these are the best Ma and Pa Kent. I
Oh
think that
man.
Annette
Oh
O'Toole as
man.
Ma Kent is absolutely phenomenal. Even some of the side characters, like, are there dumb things that happens in Smallville? Yeah, obviously. It went on. It's got like 100 and some odd episodes. A lot of it's really stupid. Lana gets hit in the head like 4 million times. She's definitely got CTE. She has amnesia like 6 different times. But like, even with all of that, even with the Red Kryptonite episodes that I straight up hate, I think as a whole, this is such a like powerful, continuous story of like hopefulness and love and cheerfulness. And I think that that's especially like now where I feel like so many superhero stories that we get are like dark and grim and not even just in the DC universe. I feel like even in Marvel, we're sort of getting some of that. It is so uplifting to go back and see some of this. And like, there are lines that I think of like to this day, I will consistently think of certain lines from Smallville that just like break my heart or are extremely powerful. I think of like when the episode where he gets his X-ray vision and he like sees through the wall that his crush is kissing her boyfriend, and he's like, he's not like upset about it, but he's kind of upset about it, and he asks his mom, he's like, Mom, what would you do if you could see everything? And she says, I would learn to close my eyes.
Yeah.
And I think that's really powerful. I love that. I love when Lana like starts breaking down to him in a later season, and she's like, you have been the one good constant thing in my life. I think that that's extremely powerful. The wedding at the end, like every major moment of this show hits so hard to the point where like those stupid things that happen in the middle, where it's just like, well, we needed 24 episodes this season, and so
Sure.
6 of these are going to be real stupid.
Yeah.
We're going to have one where a flower makes Pa Kent drive a car real bad. Like, we're going to have a Fast and Furious episode where Pete is he's using kryptonite as nitro or something. Like, we're going to get some dumb ones. But even those ones are like, they're so much fun. You know? Even the bad episodes of Smallville are fun, I think. So yeah, this is my favorite show of all time. I think it's going to be a really tough one to dethrone, but we'll see.
It's okay. It's good.
It's real good.
In the same vein that you mentioned, Rosenbaum is a great Lex. Erica Durance is such a good Lois Lane.
I regret that I didn't bring her up. She is probably the best Lois Lane. Although I will say I am incredibly optimistic about the casting for Superman on that one. I wish I could. Rachel Brosnahan. I almost forgot her name. Rachel Brosnahan, probably best known as the marvelous Miss Maisel. I think that is inspired casting. I am extremely optimistic about that casting.
I will say, from what we've seen so far, she wears a purple shirt like nobody's business. So
Yeah, I mean that's her color set. I wonder if they'll give her purple eyes because famously in the comics she does have purple eyes.
they probably won't. That'd probably be one step too far.
Maybe. Yeah, I don't know. It'd be a lot to like do that in every scene because I don't think
Yeah.
that they'd put her in contacts for it. But
No.
as long as she's wearing purple, I'm okay. I'm fine with it.
Yeah, purple's good.
Yeah, that's our lists. Let us know what you think about our favorite shows down in the comments of both Spotify and YouTube. And if you're on one of those, please go to the other and also leave that comment there because we need as much engagement as we can get. We're still very early and growing, not badly, but relatively slowly. So please help us out in any way you can. You can follow me on Twitter and Blue Sky at Daniel J. McGee. You can follow the show on Twitter at RSR_POD.
You can follow me on Blue Sky at Skyler8bit. I just posted, rarely, a picture of some of my Warhammer figures that I've been painting up. So
Whoa.
go check that out if you care.
Yeah.
You know what? Go check it out if you don't. I don't.
Yeah. Just do
go
it anyway.
Do it. Whatever.
Anyway, until next time, everybody, we'll see you around.
The game's just starting, the world's so bright. Jump right in, everything feels right. Let's play, take a trip at